Three is live on all socials. This was something that was really crazy, actually. Um, really crazy. So I had gotten a notification about a memory for the Music Mondays podcast, and 3 years ago in 2021, I was going live with the Music Mondays podcast for the very first time. So this is very interesting because um technically technically it's the uh 3 year anniversary of Music Mondays. So technically, like, this is um quite the milestone, if I'm being honest. So let's back it up, man. So in 2021, um I was coming off of um leaving my first platform. So there was a platform by the name of UVC that I helped grow from 2017, like early 2017 to late 2020 is when I left UVC. So I was at UVC for roughly about 3 years, and that platform eventually got sold and is pretty much dormant at the moment. So that was like the first time in my career as a producer and as a creative in general that I was kind of on my own, right? I was involved with other smaller groups and things like that, but UVC was like a major project. Um, we had hosted multiple live events. We had done so many other things across the underground in the early years that I think um, was very monumental. You know what I mean? Like, very monumental. So that's one thing that's like very special about UVC. But our relationship came to an end, and that was where I was pretty much solo. At the end of 2020, I found myself relatively um just fresh, and not fresh in the aspect that like I didn't know what I was doing or anything like that. It was just I had never worked as Zomb Slays, right? I had always worked under UVC. I'd always worked under um you know other organizations and platforms. So that's where it was a little bit of a culture change for me, and it was really crazy, man. It was really crazy because I didn't really have a plan yet. I didn't really um I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my career yet, right? Because I was going to keep producing music, I was going to keep writing, I was going to keep, you know, I was going to keep doing things like that, but it was kind of rough, you know what I mean? Cuz I was always working under like a team environment and things like that. So I didn't know if I wanted to take all my skills to like another platform or start my own platform. It was kind of like a pretty big turning point for my career. I'm not gonna lie to you. So that's when I had, slept on it for some time. Reed, what's good? I hope you're well. Welcome on in. Happy motherfucking Monday. Um, I had slept on it for some time, and um, I had came to the conclusion that I wanted to start a podcast. And this was like before podcasts were like trendy, if you will. I think podcasts were just starting out to be trendy in 2020. But I feel like in 2021 and 2022, it got super trendy to do. Um, but I came up with the idea at the end of the year of 2020, and I didn't really, I didn't really have a vision yet. I just knew that I wanted to spew a lot of the information that I knew about the underground scene and the underground environment in general. Um, it it was kind of weird at first because originally the name that I had for the Music Mondays podcast was Zomb Slays Music Mondays, because I was running under the assumption that I was just going to do things under Zomb Slays. So it was Zomb Slays Music Mondays rather than just Music Mondays. So eventually throughout like the first like 20 episodes or so, I don't even think we were doing reactions and reviews. I was just coming up with topics to talk about, for like new underground creators, just all types of people, right? Like there was things that was going on in like my creative world, and then there was things going on in like other people's creative world. So there was like a lot of things going on at the time where I felt like I had a lot to offer in terms of like what I had to say, what I knew, and what I had seen, right? And like even if you think back in like 2020, 2021, I still was growing, and obviously I'm still growing now, but even back then I was super like I didn't have the vision yet in place. So um I got through like the first 20 or so episodes, and they were pretty like well received, right? I think people enjoyed them. It wasn't really like what it is now, obviously, but it was very like small and low key. And I think it was actually on like a monthly basis. Now that I'm trying to think back on it, I'm pretty sure we used to do monthly shows instead of weekly shows. Jay, what's good? I hope you're well. Welcome on in. Happy motherfucking Monday. Um, yeah. So I kind of wanted to switch gears, right? Because I don't think like a talking like a weekly talk show podcast by yourself definitely can get rough if you're not like formatting it properly, right? So um I kind of wanted to get into some live reactions and reviews because I was talking with like my homies at the time, and I was talking with people at the time, and I didn't really know where I wanted to take Music Mondays, right? Because it was just kind of like, again, a very early idea. I knew I wanted to get thoughts out, but I didn't know in what way. Um, and as I started doing episodes, I was like, okay, why don't we react to songs on the show and this, that, and the third. And then eventually we started getting submissions. I started reacting to songs on the show. I started doing X, Y, or Z. And this was back when, so 2 years ago, this was back when I was still streaming on console, which was actually really crazy. So we weren't even pulling anything up on stream. We weren't even playing music on stream. It was just me talking solo dolo for like the first like 20 or something episodes. And it went well for what it was, right? Because there weren't many shows out at the time doing shit like that, but I knew I had to level up. So eventually, as we started getting submissions, I knew I had to kind of move over to streaming from console to PC. And then that's when I started to learn OBS. I started to learn um, pretty much everything to do with PC streaming and things like that. So that's where I really like spent like the end of 2021 going into 2022, and like all of 2022 like really hunkering down like PC issues and like how to fucking even work a PC, right? Because everybody knows how to like work a computer, but when you start to get into things like streaming and recording and things like that, man, it'll send you down a rabbit hole for sure. So 2022 was very much that, and then eventually we started upgrading the show. Then we hit like our first like 100 episode milestone, and the show just continued to what it is today, right? But I think one thing that's like really insane about Music Mondays in general and the show is that it was never meant to be like a platform. Like I didn't start out thinking this could be like a whole platform. I just started out as a show, right? Which for me was kind of weird because you would think coming from UVC it was kind of like a no-brainer to just go and start a new platform, right? But I didn't think like that instantly because I didn't want to jump the gun. I didn't want to like hurry up and be like, I gotta get back to where I was and da da da. I kind of wanted to like feel it out for a second because I didn't really know what was gonna happen. And then eventually I came to the conclusion that Music Mondays can really be like its own platform because the show was successful first before the platform was. That's one thing that a lot of people don't know is the show, the podcast was successful before the platform was. So that's why it's like very special. And it was never intended to like turn out this way, but I knew we had something special with the show and people wanting to get their music on the show. And then obviously like everything else from like the UVC era and like building platforms needed to come into play eventually, right? So um it took us like a couple years to grow, but I mean, fast forward to January 2024, man, and we are 157 episodes deep. We've had multiple guests on the show. We've probably played over 1,000 tracks by now, easily. It's got to be close, like maybe like 700, maybe 500. Got to be something like that, bro. It's got to be like a lot. And I've only missed like 3 Mondays in 3 years. And I think one of them, my fucking power was out. So like a couple of them you can't even really count. And then like last Christmas was on a Monday. You know what I mean? So like any Mondays I miss were like, mandatory. So um, huge shout out to the Music Mondays community. Huge shout out to the Music Mondays staff, and huge shout out to the show in general, man, because we definitely created something special here. And 3 years kind of just crept up on me because I don't look for anniversaries or things like that. I look for like major milestones. But when it comes to like anniversaries and things like that, I always tend to just like forget them up until they come up, and then it's like, oh shit, that's 3 years already. Wow. So it was really special to look back on. But there's a very interesting graphic out right now on all our socials. That was the very first Music Mondays graphic, and it's super super OG. It's super old. It's some classic shit, and that's live on all socials with a little bit of a thank you to the Music Mondays community and whatnot. So definitely go check that out, and definitely go show the Music Mondays staff, the Music Mondays community, and Music Mondays in general some love, man. Because we got another 3 years to go for sure. Three and counting. 3 million, if you will. But yeah, just totally wanted to talk about that because we didn't get a chance to talk about that last week because we just didn't. And then it was like Tuesday, and then I was like, oh shit, the anniversary's tomorrow. So I was like, oh my god. So I totally had to talk about that because I'm very big on uh like celebrating, right? I'm very big on like achievements and things like that, but I don't like to pat myself on the back too long, just because I know we have like a lot of like really big goals that we need to accomplish and also deserve. So it's totally cool to pat yourself on the back for a bit, but um got a nice road ahead of us, you know. So definitely go check out the 3 year anniversary post and go show that some love. So that takes us into, because that was Tuesday.